Hello, this is Howie, and in this episode, I'm going to do a review of credit cards. Not your typical video, but let's talk about it because almost everyone has it. Let's start off with this product review credit cards. Why do we need to review a credit card? Because there's a lot of different opinions, and that's fine. So, the first thing is, does it cause more spending? Does it have a hidden cost to it? And in one sense, there is. And the second part of it is this finance charge. The cost of borrowing money is not free. Credit cards, if you do not pay off your bill at the end of the month, you will be charged interest. Some cards are even sneakier. They'll charge you an interest regardless if you have a outstanding balance. Some of them use a 2-month rolling average balance. So if you had a balance last month and this month you don't, there's still a finance charge. But regardless, most people understand this concept. The most famous, Dave Ramsey, is totally against it, want you to live life totally without it. Am I against what he's teaching? No. Dave Ramsey does a very good job in teaching most Americans to stay away from debt. His intentions and his teachings are aligned with what I believe. I want you to stay out of debt, and I want you to win with money. How we go about it may be a little bit different, and that's what we want to talk about. It's good to have your own opinion, but let's look at it from a different point of view. I often like to base my answers on math. And I know what Dave Ramsey's fans will say. Well, debt isn't really a math problem, it's a behavior problem. And I think we all understand what his point is. If you don't have the behavior to support good spending habits, I totally agree that you should avoid credit card. You should go cash. You should use a debit card. You may need to use the envelope system. You need to track your spending and know where every dollar is going. And those are the terms he would use. And I agree with him. Give him credit for teaching that. But there are many Dave Ramsey followers who post on his forums and ask questions. But if you know that you're in baby step 4, 5, 6, or even 7, some have asked, why can't I get a credit card? And in those cases, Dave Ramsey is still against it. My next question, is a credit card an asset or a liability? Most of you will always just say, of course it's a liability. There's no way you can count that as an asset. It's not like a car or a painting or a diamond ring or stocks or real estate. So we get that. It is not an asset in the traditional sense. But now let me ask you this question. What if this little tool in your wallet can add cash into your pocket every month? Yes, you heard me. It's weird to call it an asset, but what if a credit card can add cash into your pocket every month? And we all understand what this is. A credit card has an average return rate of 1% cash back for every dollar you spend. If you spend $1,000, you can get 1% cash back. For the average person who is in debt or maybe have a negative cash flow or doesn't pay off his bills every month, this will be a bad thing for you. This will not be good for you. But there are many others in the FIRE movement, FIRE. These are the folks who want to retire early or they have a plan to get to financial independence. This crowd is very similar to the Dave Ramsey crowd. They're very savvy. They know what they're doing. And they also understand that I'm not going to pay interest to any credit card company. I'm going to pay off my credit card at the end of the month. In fact, most of them understand getting 1% is not even good enough. why not use a credit card that has a 2% rate of return? One that comes to mind is the Citibank credit card. And that credit card is often called the Citi Double Cash Card. You get 1% when you buy, 1% when you pay. Very popular. You don't have to worry about Discover card that uses a 5% on certain categories every month that switches. So this card is a little bit easier to manage your 2% rate of return. And for others, you may want to consider getting something called a premium credit card. And those are with annual fees. Some of them are about $100, and some of the most expensive that the average consumer can get, it's about $500. And some of those come with really good perks if you use them and if you maximize your perks. For others, it's not worth the $500 if you don't know how to maximize it. And I want to share a little bit of details of what I do. There's a credit card that I use that's a premium credit card. And when I got it, I believe it was under $100 a year. And for this, I get in exchange for my annual fee, I get one hotel night. And you can use it in big cities. And some of the hotel nights are generally more expensive than the room rate for that one night. So if you're exchanging $100 to get a room rate that's $140, is it worth it? And I get what some of you will say, well, not always. Sometimes your room rate is $60 or $70 a night. And that may be true depending on where you're staying. Let me tell you more. I like using this because I get automatic silver member each year. And so will you. In fact, you see, I am a gold elite member. And I don't even travel for work. And most of you know, under COVID, no one travels for work now. But let me tell you some of the benefits that I have gotten over the years of using credit cards. You can collect airline miles to get free air travel. Many years ago, Citibank had a savings EE bond. So while you're spending money on credit cards, yes, they send me Series EE savings bonds straight to my mailbox. And I love opening them up and getting one or two a month. In fact, I still have over $1,000 in savings bonds, which for some say, what a waste. My yield was over 4.7% guaranteed. Savings bonds have a very unique property. If the value doesn't hit face value or doubling of its value after, I believe it was 18 years, it will automatically hit that face value. So guaranteeing you a 4.7% rate of return. And many of you will say, well, what's the use? That is so low. And that's a true statement if you're comparing to other assets. But in theory, I got this for free. And it's really looked at as a cash equivalent. And for most of you now, we've been in a low interest rate environment for almost 20 years now. So I got these back in 9/11. I got savings bonds. And I collected it until Citibank stopped that credit card. But back to this Marriott card. I have used my points for my honeymoon. When I went to Hawaii, that was not my honeymoon. That was just another trip. But I went to Hawaii and I used my hotel points at Marriott without paying for the room. When I worked in Boston or when I stayed in Boston, I used it. Or when I traveled to Orlando or anywhere. When you do a road trip and hanging out or meeting up with a friend, I use the free hotel points to stay at a hotel so I don't need to stay at my friend's couch. Other ways you can get money back, I spoke about it earlier. Using a credit card, you can get 2% back. But the point is this. I would recommend you read the Points Guide. Great website if you want to learn how to maximize everything. So let's summarize this. Where do I stand on credit cards? Is it for everyone? Should you get one? Should you avoid it? And those answers depend on your behavior. If you're the type of person who cannot control their spending, please avoid it. Go cash. Dave Ramsey is right. You cannot control how much you spend, and you need to get it under control. But I am not totally against credit cards. I believe if you're someone who has a big net worth, you can control your money, you can control your spending, you're not addicted to shopping. Credit cards could be viewed as an asset, as I mentioned. It does generate a 1 or 2% extra money from nowhere, quote unquote, and it could give you some benefits that you would not have if you didn't use one. What we don't want to teach is credit cards is not used to spend more money. Credit card it's just a tool that basically captures the money you're already spending. I have to buy gas for my car regardless if I use a credit card or cash. I normally have to buy groceries whether I use cash or credit card. And so the point is well taken. If your normal spending can be done using credit cards, are you really spending more? And that's the key. Yes, we know there's studies that suggest that you spend more using credit cards, but for most FIRE people, they're some of the most frugal, and they track every nickel and dollar and spend, and so they're not going to go over their spending plan. And I think in those cases, you can see why we say in those cases, credit cards can be very beneficial for you. In the end, I'd like you to think about this. Let me know if I convince you to consider it. I know that this is a topic that most people either are totally against or they're totally for. And I want you guys to think about it and be open-minded. Can something like this be good for you? And for those who are for it, let's be open-minded. Let's understand that it's not good for everyone. This is one of those topics that we need to understand who's the consumer and who's using it. Not everyone is capable of using it in a good and positive manner. For some, it's going to bring destruction and ruin to them. And for others, they're going to reap the 1 or 2% benefit from using a credit card. With that, please enjoy this video and click and view some of my other ones. I create many different videos and I talk about many different financial topics. And if you have any other comments or suggestions, please comment below. With that being said, let's win together with money. Let's do this $1 at a time. And as always, have a profitable day.